Good evening, folks, and welcome to Here's the Deal. I'm your host, Shilo, and of course, I got my trusty co-host with me again, Mr. Marv. How are ya?
Good. I'm doing good tonight.
Good. Y'all ready for the weekend?
No, I have to work tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm ready for it to be Sunday.
there you go. There you go. So, what do you know this evening?
Busy week. We got guests lined up here for the next couple shows. Tuesday, we are going to have the president of the North Dakota Homeschooler Association on to talk about the state convention. Next Friday, we have the District 14 candidates on. It sounds like Jim has agreed to be on. We're just working on getting a date rounded up for him. And then we also reached out to our other two DPI candidates. So we're waiting to hear back from Kirsten and Darko if they're going to join the show. So 4 DPI candidates.
Wow, that's exciting. I know that you and your assistant were busy yesterday trying to get people rounded up. So I dearly
credit 100% goes to Sarah. So
what's that?
Credit 100% goes to Sarah. She was super busy yesterday.
Yeah. Well, I for one just want to let you guys know I appreciate your guys' effort in lining that up. It's not something that can be done just by the snap of your fingers, that's for sure. So, with that being said, why don't you tell us a little bit about our guest tonight?
I'm going to actually let her do most of the talking, but we have Alexis Wangler on with us tonight with Health Freedom North Dakota. They're a group that were formed in 2019 and kicked some major butt in 2021 with the Legislative Assembly. And they got a bunch of upcoming stuff coming. So I want to let Alexis tell her story tonight, and we'll kind of go from there.
Well, that works. With that being said, let's bring her on. Good evening, Alexis. How are you?
Hey there, Shilo. Hey, Marvin. I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me on.
Glad to have you. Glad to see you guys are up and running again. I know you kind of took a little bit of a hiatus after the session in 21.
Yeah, we were feeling so extremely tired, and we actually had someone, we were going to hire a consulting firm, and she flat out told us we needed to stop everything we were doing because it was going to be a rest year with the session being over. It was 2022 at that time, and so she said, just stop what you guys are doing right now. Go back to the basics, go back to the beginning, check on your, articles of incorporation, check on your bylaws, make sure that those are how you want them, now that you've been operating for a few years, and maybe restructure, reorganize, and then go from there. And I was very hesitant. I was, oh my gosh, the anxiety that I was feeling at that time was through the roof. We'd been going pedal to the metal since basically we started in October 2019. And so it was just like, how do you stop that train once it's on those tracks,
Yeah, it's really hard. You guys actually had an addition to your family in there someplace too, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I actually had, from the time that we started in 2019 to now, I have had 2 children in that time span. Yeah, my third was born in April of 2020, and my 4th little girl here was born in November of 2023.
That's a lot of girls.
I have a house of girls, so like 4 girls.
Oh boy. So why don't you back it up to 2019? What got you guys really kind of going on this?
Yeah, so just a couple of us friends, we didn't know each other from Adam, and some of us over Facebook that there was going to be a mandatory bill introduced in Florida, and we fired up about it. And so then there was this organization that was put together over Facebook called the Millions March Against Mandatory Vaccinations. And they were trying to get people organized to do like an educational demonstration in like every state. And they were asking, if you don't want to all meet up in one state, just go and do it in your own hometown, like that sort of thing. And so my former vice president and I, we put a group together, and we started kind of trying to organize to do this nationwide educational demonstration. It was going to be August 1st of 2019. I want to say that was like early Labor Day weekend. And we got it done. Six stranger children came together at the Capitol, and we did a very modest little educational demonstration. From there, we went to, that was a lot of fun. Now we have new friends, and like we wanted to keep the, and so we were going to do another educational because we had noticed that Sanford Health was doing something called Boo to the Flu clinics at their pediatric clinics, where they were going to be, doing vaccine, like handing out candy for the flu. And then we looked at each other and we're like, this is great, but we really just an organization that is going to promote health freedom in North Dakota and help educate on all the issues that pertain to health freedom. And we can do the educational demonstrations too at the same time. So from there, that's when we started learning how to become a 501c3. I talked to a new Facebook friend of mine at that time. Her name was Maya Olson, and she's the founder of Health Freedom South. And she told me about the VAX team was coming, or was actually going to do a wide launch of their new documentary called The People. And she said the only way you can have a private screening done in North Dakota is if you're like a formed organization. They don't tend to like just trust anyone off the street. And so we started working toward bringing the screenings in North Dakota, and we had, I want to say, like 5 different locations set up for that, and that really got the rolling, and it just kept on rolling.
So crazy busy. 2020 came around, and you guys were super active, council meetings, commission meetings, stuff like that. Session though, the 21 session where they were bringing forward like Bill 1323, which was the mask mandate, stuff like that. You guys actually had set up some pretty big events. Who all did you guys get to come in for that?
Yeah, so our first really big event was called the Rock Your Health Summit in 2020, and I want to say it was in September, 3rd week in September of 2020. We had Del Bigtree come to town, and with him was Mary Holland. She works as a lawyer for Children's Health Defense, so works like right alongside Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And then Dr. Patrick Flynn, who is the founder of the wellness clinics that are known around the globe, really. The great stuff that he does. From that event.
Oh, we lost her. Give it just a minute.
Ow. I hope this doesn't go. Well, at any rate.
Lost you. Tell Lexi the signal dropped.
It's a good thing we
hopefully. There she is.
Oh, here she comes.
Hi.
Hi again. I'm sorry. I don't know if that was on my end or not.
Well, we've had interruptions before, so we're used to it.
Okay.
So you're talking about Dr. Patrick Flynn, who I think we made that event, or it was the one that only in spring. Karen and I did get a chance to meet him too.
Yeah, so after that Rock Your Health Summit, gosh, I mean, I have to like literally look at the list of all the different events that we had going on, because there was just so many so quickly, and it was a lot of like all of a sudden, okay, we're gonna do the trucker rally, and it was like that week we figured out this was happening throughout the nation with the truckers and stuff. So it was a lot of fly by the seat of the pants. So that was the Rock Your Health Summit 2020. Then from there, like 2021, we had 6 different speakers come in. And gosh, we had Susie Olson Corrigan. She works a lot with like health freedom groups and helps them to kind of get started. We had Wayne Rohde, who is actually out of Minnesota. He knows a lot. He has a lot of knowledge on like the system of if you need to request money from a vaccine injury, like how you do that, how you sue the government to do that. We had Dr. Jim Meehan. He's been on the high wire, filled in for Jill multiple times. I want to say he's a doctor in Texas. A little fuzzy on my details right now, but and then we had Jennifer Margolis, who is a PhD. She's written multiple books. Your Baby, Your Way. She's written the Vaccine Friendly Plan with Dr. Paul Thomas, which is one of the first books that I ever read on my journey of becoming a mom and our health journey. Gosh, who am I forgetting? We had 6 different speakers, so I'm trying to remember each one. Dr. Bob Zajac was a pediatrician. He's been so great. Him and Dell actually showed up for the legislation and committee hearings. They showed up to testify for us as like expert testimony. And like Dell even like worked with some of the legislators to like submit a bill that he thought would be great, for us to have in North Dakota. And Dr. Bob, like, he explained so well, like, different aspects of like what we are trying to vaccinate against, and the percentages of whether or not they are considered deadly anymore, or when they stopped being deadly, that sort of thing. So Dr. Bob, Dr. Meehan, Wayne.
Tammy come in too. And,
I'm sorry?
and you had Tammy come in and Kristen.
Yeah. We got to know those girls, Tammy and Kristen. They came that was right around the time Rena was due, actually. That was April 5th, I think, of 2021. Yep. Yeah, and they came in and did an event along with some of the people from Minot that have been working toward health freedom related things and with the legislature. That event, I think, like brought in like roughly 250 people, and they gave a great presentation on the various things that they have to work with and their expertise in the medical field, working with people that have to wear masks, and that it's not just a throw on a mask situation. There's really a lot of science behind it, and whether or not you are even able to is all an individual basis. So it was a great event too.
Yeah, like you guys have been so active, and then with how quiet you had gone, it was I was a little worried, but
Yep.
they're just taking kind of a little bit of a sabbatical.
Yeah, we were just so tired. I mean, from anywhere from 2 people to 11 people were working with us at one time. And a lot of the times, especially in 2021, it was just like maybe 2, maybe 4 people maximum. And that's including myself the whole time, so we had things going on, like where, I was having 2 babies in the whole time period. And we had people that had lost family members, unfortunately, which is, we've become such a close family that it hurt our hearts too. And then, we had situations with elderly family members being put in the hospitals and dealing with them, and having graduating students, children graduating from high school and having to plan all of that stuff. So there's just so much life happening behind the scenes for all of us that we did need to take that break. And it wasn't really anything internally that happened among us. It was just, we were all just so tired that finally we decided to rest and go back into our homes where we were most needed at that time. And now we're fired up, and hopefully we're going to have a couple people join us again, because we are short board members again.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the last kind of big thing you guys did was the We the People rally during special session.
Yeah.
Tried to shut down through the QR codes for vaccine passports.
Yes, all that. Yeah, and thankfully we were able to assist with that. Leading up to that event, we were all looking at each other like, oh my gosh, like, can we do a special session too now? Like, we're just so tired, but we're gonna do our best. We're gonna push through one more time, And we said we're going to give ourselves a nice long break afterward. And we did. We rested. That was an amazing event. We're so very thankful for the We the People group that started up, and that really helped to promote people getting involved. They've done an excellent job since they started as well, working with the people, and allowing us to tag along with their success has been great. Thankfully, we were able to do that, and we really appreciate them. After we did the We the People rally, that it was just so successful. I love thinking about it. How great of a day that was. Perfect weather. But then we, had our break, and March of 2022 was when we had that meeting where we talked to a consulting firm, and they said, it's great what you guys have been doing. You've been fueled by passion, but you guys probably should just take a little rest period. And once you drop that ball, though, it's so hard to pick it back up.
Yeah,
so hard to pick it back up, but we're doing it. It's starting to roll again.
So it sounds like you need a couple more board members. How many people are you looking for?
Yeah, so right now the positions that have been filled are president and treasurer. Jennifer Kadramas is our treasurer right now, but we are looking to fill positions of vice president, depending on if Jen would like to step into the vice president role or not. Then we would be filling the treasurer role and the secretary role, which they're all such big positions in general. And then we do have a couple other positions that we've kind of like created. There's like merchandise coordinator. We have, sorry, one of my children's a little fussy right now. We have different groups that we work with. Health Freedom. We have different groups that we work with, like Health Freedom. Like we work for Stand for Health Freedom. We work with the National Vaccine Information Center, Children's Health Defense, and so then we have people that also kind of help plug us into like what they're doing and keeping us updated on that. And right now we are short on those people as well. So we are looking for someone who can work with like CHD and someone who can work with Stand for Health Freedom for us.
Perfect. So 2024, you got some events coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, so the first event that's coming up is with CHD and the VAX team, and that is the VAX bus. They decided to charter a bus again, and go around the nation interviewing people and family members, that have had different experiences with, the hospital systems during times of COVID, and families that have, chosen to vaccinate and have, had negative reactions from that, families that have chosen not to vaccinate and what that's been like for them. A lot of different stories that they are doing throughout the whole nation. You can actually go to CHD and like watch the stories. They are sharing those publicly. You can sign up for text messages and be informed on when they are interviewing people and what the different stories are about. They'll be coming, I think, in May. We're still in talks on whether or not like we're going to do, a couple different cities or which ones we're going to be, having the bus there. What's really cool too about the bus, I just love this, is that they actually allow you to sign it. If you do an interview, you get to sign your name on there, or you get to sign it in remembrance of someone who has been injured by a vaccine, or someone who has been, very impactful in your life as far as, the hospital protocols and the treatments that have happened, and unfortunately the malpractice that has been experienced as well.
Yeah, and I mean that's a big thing. A lot of people don't realize that if you're injured by a vaccine, the manufacturers have been forgiven liability since the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick on the merchandise, that's why I ran away. We got
there you go.
back in 2020, we got the hats and everything else too. So like,
Yeah.
their clothes that they put out, folks, are super comfy. Just saying.
Yeah, we got a lot of different options for you to choose from these days, where you want to get your merchandise and what you'd like. So you can visit we've got a storefront on Bonfire, and as well as like a little bit of a store on our own Health Freedom North Dakota.org webpage. And then from the store there, a couple items that are listed, you can actually click onto another link that'll take you to like more of the shirts that with our newest logo on them and that sort of a thing. So
so I got an update bumper sticker on my wife's car.
Yes, right? Yeah. That's a great bumper sticker. I still don't have mine on.
Right? And then did you talk about what you got coming up in September this year?
No, we haven't mentioned that yet. So coming up in September, third week again, is going to be the Rock Your Health Summit 2024. It'll be our third summit that we've done. We've done 2 at Bismarck Event Center. This year, we're going to actually be at the Baymont Inn in Mandan. It's just going to be a great event. We've kind of got some things different from the last time we did one in 2021. I'm very excited for. We'll have our VIP dinner on September 20th. That's that Friday night, where you get to meet the VIPs that are coming in. That I'll be giving speeches the following day. We do have one person lined up. Again, Dr. Bob Zajac is coming back. We're so excited to have him again. He's been such a supporter of our organization. It's amazing. It's truly a blessing to have someone such as his caliber be on board and be checking into our organization and making sure that we're still going to be fighting.
Well, and the thing with Dr. Bob, most people don't realize, is he's out of Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what he was testifying about during the 21 session was actually he'd been looking at putting branches in North Dakota for his clinics that he does.
Yep.
And because of some of the legislation is why he was there.
Yes. He is doing some satellite clinics still in the Fargo area, I believe. He's been talking about actually putting some clinics in North Dakota, but he just hasn't done it yet, of course. Very busy man. Very, very great. So he'll be the one of the speakers we can announce.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that?
So we can announce Dr. Bob officially.
Yes.
They're hopefuls, or you don't want to talk about?
Yeah. I've reached out to a few other people that I think would be some people would be excited about, but I haven't heard back from them. I do have one person that I think people would be really excited for, but we haven't even tried reaching out yet, just with how busy life gets. But we will be doing that hopefully within the next week. And we'll hopefully be making some announcements via our Facebook page, other social media platforms that we have, our Telegram, Instagram, of course, and MeWe, as well as sending out emails and letting people know, because the summit is going to be different this year too. As I was mentioning, we do the second day of the summit, or the first full day of the summit, is where the speakers talk about what they want to talk about. Then the following day, what we're going to try to do is something that I've been wanting to do since we really started, is appreciation brunch, as well as like a live auction to help us fundraise. The appreciation brunch, is going to just be that, and we're going to be celebrating the people that have helped us from the get-go get to where we are at today with all the different things that we've done. I have some different ideas for the people that were there, and like gifts I want to give out to them. So I'm really excited for that day too, to see how well that goes.
Now, we've covered a lot about just like the vaccines and stuff, but you guys are really about medical freedom, period, correct?
Yes, yeah. We are, one of the things that we've been doing in this downtime, or I've been kind of doing, is writing down ideas, and we started this from the vaccinations, and it was a bill out of Florida that was the mandate Vaccinations for All Children Act, and that's what it's about. It's about choice, and what true health is. and how we as individuals need to dig into what our health is for ourselves. And so we would like to make the summit this year more encompassing for that specifically. That may that be your physical health, may that be your mental health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your financial, occupational health. There's just so much to that word that people don't really fully understand, and they can all play off of each other. When it comes to your health, if you're not healthy in one area, then something's probably also going to be taking a dive in another area. And so that's where we would really like to show our worth is all encompassing that word of health and health freedom.
And it's really kind of weird with the way the North Dakota laws are. This year was our first year of signing up our little girl for homeschool. Mm-hmm. And I was really kind of surprised when we were going through the forums, like they wanted to know her vaccination status. And I used a different term, but I'm like, it's none of their dang business what shots she has or hasn't had. Why do we have to provide this to the public school system? Which we just shot them through religious exemption because we have one, but it was still kind of eye-opening for even the homeschooling aspect to see that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
So
yep.
You guys are going to be getting going right into the next legislative session. Are you guys working with new legislators for new bills, or not sure yet?
Yeah, it's a good question. We've talked about, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, and so we focus, we're supposed to be focusing on education, and there are a lot of strict rules in place for C3s that you aren't supposed to do too much in the legislature. And so we've been trying our best to be really careful on that. So we've talked about, forming like a PAC in our own organization, or even a C4 for those that are more interested on the legislation side to, work and try to obtain, more health freedom legislature. I have a couple of different ideas in mind as far as the bills go. You talk about like how homeschoolers need to, show their exemption status. But I kind of take it a step back and go, why should anyone have to show their exempt, or their like why should you have to sign up for an exemption? It should be a matter of, if you want to do it, do it. If you don't want to do it, then don't. You don't have to opt in or opt out, I should say, of something that's a medical procedure for you or your family.
That's some good points. Shilo, I've asked all the questions. What do you got over there, bud?
I'm just taking it all in. I guess I'm learning as we go here, because I've never heard of health freedom in North Dakota until tonight. So I'm just learning on what you guys do and what you're about, and so it's been interesting.
Yeah.
And I was ground zero with Alexis on a lot of this stuff, so I'm kind of at an advantage here, bud.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Said you guys were working on doing some fundraising. Do you have kind of a goal set up?
Yeah, I have a goal to have like roughly 30,000 by the time that we have our summit, just so that we know that we're going to be able to, pay our speakers and the event venue itself. I think that would be a great amount to have. And just to be able to continue the work that we're doing. We don't have a steady stream of donors, unfortunately. And so that's something that I try my best, and hopefully the board will get on board with me and do that. Reach out to people and just see if they'd be interested in becoming like recurring donors.
Yeah.
Is there somewhere people can go to donate?
Yeah, you can go to our website and donate. I want to say it's a little bit different setup. It's through Stripe on our website. Mm-hmm. That's www.healthfreedomnd.org/donate. It's kind of going to be like a setup where you say that you're going to donate a certain amount, and like you check out almost on, mm-hmm. And do like there's a shipping option even. So you do like the local pickup from Linton, where I'm around the area there. So then it won't charge you any shipping option, obviously, for your donation. You can also go to PayPal, and you can go to Venmo and find us there. I want to say with the PayPal, we're Health Freedom ND, and with Venmo, it's all spelled out Health Freedom North Dakota.
Okay, and those are all right on the website as well, correct? So
I believe so.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I believe so.
Just we got the link for your guys' website posted in your guest book for tonight, and Shiloh's been showing the actual your web page here on the scroll. So I don't know if you saw that rolling through, but
Yeah, I can see that now. Yep. Sorry, I've been trying to bounce the baby here. Haven't really been paying attention to
it's fine.
that.
Our kids randomly stop and they see us too, so like we get it.
Yeah.
What kind of moving forward, like I know we're rolling into 24, you got the summit going, you guys are back up and going. We're gonna be coming into a new legislative session with new legislators, obviously. Moving kind of forward, are you guys looking to kind of make this a permanent thing now, where you're gonna, once you got your board set, you're gonna let her rip for the unforeseeable future?
Yes, for sure. We have our articles and we have our bylaws where we want them. Of course, sometimes we have to change a couple little things here or there, do some tweaks, but getting an organizational system in place has been huge. I've been listening to audibles and reading books about how to run my nonprofit better, just so that we can make sure that we're here for the long haul. Having a succession plan would be wonderful. Not that I see myself going anywhere in the foreseeable future. I'll always probably have a role with Health Freedom North Dakota, but as my children get older, it's something that I definitely think about a lot. And so one thing I should mention too is, even just staying in the email eye of our followers and our members, that's something that's so hard to do. I've been trying to get an email out the last couple of days here even, and I'm like, oh, this is taking forever. But we want to be able to send out a quarterly newsletter, and that's what we're actually working on right now, Jen and I, is a newsletter that will hopefully be sent out before March, and then we'll try to send out again every 3 months, if not sooner. Going on, as the Vax bus rolls into town, we probably will be sending out some more updates, but as the summit gets closer, more updates sent too. So just doing that would be huge, I think, to help everyone kind of stay in that mindset of we need to continue to fight for our health freedom and advocate for it as well.
Yeah, I had another question for you. I lost it.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Like, Facebook. What are you doing about Facebook?
Oh. Yeah, thank you for asking that, because I was spacing that one out too. So in 2021, right when we launched our ticket sales for our second Rock Your Health Summit, guess what happened? Our Facebook page, our group, I should say, our page is still good, but our got shut down. It was disabled to be removed, we were told. And right away, of course, I clicked on the review option. So basically, it's been sitting in limbo, permanently disabled. Only the admins can see it still. And all of the content that was in there, thankfully, we still have that option, because there's a lot of times where I'm even trying to remember something we did, an event, or some information that was shared education-wise, and I can go back in there. But what we're going to be doing, hopefully by March, launching our second Facebook private group. And I'm working on adding like our history in there of all the events we've done since 2019, since October 2019. And as well as something I'm excited for is building, I guess you have an option now with Facebook groups, you can build something called guides. And so I'm hoping to add in some information and some guides for people that want to be more advocates for health freedom.
That's really cool. And then are you on any other platforms? So people that don't sit on Facebook, like Telegram, stuff like that?
Yeah. So our second main platform is Instagram. I would say MeWe has got a decent following, and then our Telegram's probably the least amount of people on there. It's a little more passive communication-wise, but we do have those other 3 options for people that don't want to do Facebook anymore. And thankfully, we have someone. Hold on, babe. We have someone who is able to help us with the MeWe account. and she's been great. Whenever we have something posted on Facebook, she'll put it over on the MeWe, as well as post some things. And then of course Instagram is something that was run by one of our board members, and now is needing a position filled there. But Telegram is kind of more of a me thing, and I'm not a great Telegram person, I'll be honest. So, but we try our best to get them on all the information we share on those platforms.
Yeah, Telegram can be a bit much sometimes.
Yeah. Definitely.
What's up, honey?
All right.
Daddy. Yeah.
Oh,
I've got
yeah, it sounds like you guys got a lot going on.
Yeah. It's okay. I just got to grab an applesauce.
Okay, no, yeah, I get it. I'm surprised mine hasn't come running down the steps yet.
It's funny how you jump on that phone and then all of a sudden they need you.
Yeah. All heck breaks loose.
Right?
The dogs will bark and everything else.
Shilo, how many children do you have?
So I have 2. My son just turned 10, and my daughter will turn 8 here in March.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
best of both worlds.
Yeah. It's never a dull moment, I'll tell you that.
Right.
So, yeah. But
yeah. Hold on, babe.
Well, is there anything else you got for us tonight, Lexi? I know you mentioned right before we started you got a bunch of peanuts to get ready for bed.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I guess I was just going to add, we do have some t-shirt fundraisers too that we're trying to do. One of the t-shirt designs here for just in time for Valentine's Day, we got her out. And I think it's kind of clever. It's roses are red, violets are blue, health freedom for all, not just a few. And that is able to be purchased with one of our health freedom friendly businesses. He's got a link to his website for that shirt design, if that's something, your advocacy wardrobe. That's one of the great ones.
Cool.
Perfect.
I've got a couple different ideas with the different holidays coming up with Passover and maybe St. Patty's Day even. We'll see. I'm really excited for the one for Passover. I think people will kind of start laughing when they read it, but
awesome. You're going to tell me that my wife's going to have an ever-growing collection.
Yeah. I'm a mail carrier by day, and so I wear a lot of t-shirts. And I live in a small town, so it's kind of fun to see people's faces sometimes with the t-shirts that I wear.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you know them.
That's funny.
So board positions, currently possibly VP, secretary. Jennifer's currently sitting in at treasurer, but you don't know if she's going to be moving up.
Yeah.
We need merchandising and media. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. No.
So there's four good positions, folks. If you know anybody that would be a great fit, she's amazing. Jen's amazing. Obviously,
yes, she is.
I've known Jen for a very long time.
Yep.
18 years or a couple weeks ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, she's
That's
Sarah's
awesome.
sister, so
Yep.
I've known her for quite a long time.
Yep.
And then your next big event is going to be the Vax Bus, which is going to be coming through. I would like to get you on closer to that event if you would like to talk for a bit.
That would be great.
Definitely a bit more about that. So,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's going to be a fun one. Paulie and the team, they're very wonderful. Like I remember working with them with the People's Truth, the private screening for their second movie, and it was a lot of fun to be able to talk with Paulie's daughter and really hear kind of what they're up to and how everything works for them behind the scenes. And
Sorry, I'm just quick peeking to see if I had any questions come rolling through for you here.
No worries.
Looks like we are free and clear.
Yep.
I'm just excited. Shilo,
Yeah.
you got to spend some time with Alexis. So over the next couple months, you're gonna make some fun.
Yeah, we'll definitely have more opportunities.
You bet. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes, me too. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It has been too long.
Yeah, it is. Anything else that you want to talk about tonight?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's so much you could talk about. Really, there is. We're in that time, coming up on an election year here. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I believe, is running, right? Is he isn't
independent. He actually just got sued by the Democratic National Committee today.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Wow.
Yeah, something regarding a PAC and signature collection in like 3 different states. Like they're trying to keep him from running.
Right. Of course. And I mean, I would think that with the Kennedy name, even he would have a lot of pull. A lot of people would be like, oh,
Yeah, well, he doesn't exactly fit the plan though either.
Right. Definitely not. Definitely not. But a lot of the people I know are okay with that.
I was kind of joking with Sarah about that. I'm like, could you imagine if Trump ran with RFK as his VP?
Wow.
People lose their mind. I'm like,
right.
Really? I go, really, like most of his policies are pretty good with the exception of where he stands on guns, but you can't exactly blame the guy either,
Right. Right. Yeah. That's that whole like nature versus nurture kind of conversation. Like what you're born into versus how you're raised and everything. And yeah.
But at the same point, like you look at everything that's currently going on, even with like our presidential race now and all the talks at Bergam going, which I'm sure you're a little bit happy about.
Very. Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
But I think moving forward, we're really kind of seeing a shift when it comes to the landscape for North Dakota politics. So hopefully for you guys, it's going to be a lot less having to pack the Capitol Hall and a lot more pleasant conversations when it comes to this stuff. Because I know it was a tooth and nail fight for you guys for 2 years, which
yeah. And speaking about that, we saw such a dramatic change from the 2019 legislative session to 2019. Am I right on my years?
21 was the
2021.
Yep.
So the differences in how the committees would most of the people in the committee anyway. I mean, you always have some people that will hate you no matter what. Judy Lee. But so anyway, it was a change that we really appreciated in 2021 to see more of the legislators being willing to have those conversations. And really, I know it's crazy to say, but in some ways, the whole COVID situation was almost a blessing in disguise because it opened up those conversations to be more of on a personal level than and I feel this way, you feel that way, attack of a conversation. You're able to talk more openly and freely with legislators that weren't in the past willing to be spoken to about.
You're talking 21 to 23, obviously. 21 was a fight.
Okay, sorry. Yes, yep. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think 2020 or 2019 we were involved, but yeah, 2021 was where we really there's a big year, and then into 2023 where we did see more of them, kind of be willing to just have a conversation with us. There was even one time in the committee where I had actually stood up and I gave my testimony on one of the bills, and I had mentioned that the exemption form or the certificate of immunization form, it actually had COVID on it at one time. I downloaded it because of different things going on with like my own child's daycare and stuff. And and it showed that COVID was a vaccination that children could get. And in my opinion, it was implying that they had to get it. And the chairman, is that right? Who was in the, oh gosh, I'm forgetting his name, if you remember. I can't remember his name, but he was even like shocked that that happened, and that I was able to show them the proof of it, him and Matt Ruby. And they had a conversation with the public health department and told them they needed to change the form, actually. So it was pretty cool to see that they were willing to have that conversation for us, so that people weren't thinking that they had to get their children the COVID vaccination.
Yeah.
Robin Weiss.
Wow.
Weiss. That was who it was. Yep.
So,
and he was someone who was very much opposed to us being there in 2021. So
yeah, I know. That's why I was surprised.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're gonna have a really good season here coming. I'm really glad you guys are back up and running.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm definitely interested to see what we have coming up. So
yes, yep. And hopefully now we'll have our feet under us and we'll be able to, keep a nice consistent pace with life events and, those health freedom events that happen to pop up every once in a while that you need to be there for.
Last question. How do people get a hold of you if they want to apply as a board member?
Yeah. If you're interested in a board position, honestly, you can just reach out to us over the Facebook page, Message Health Freedom North Dakota. Of course, you can always give my cell phone a call. It's 701-321-0518. And you can always send me a message too over Facebook. That's probably the best place to contact me besides my cell phone, or email, I suppose. You can email me at alexis@healthfreedomnd.org.
Perfect.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate your time. I'm sorry I let Marvin do most of the show, but it's been interesting to listen, because at some of these, at the points where you guys are kind of talking about, I wasn't very involved in the vaccination deal or anything like that. I was doing other things with school boards and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's been kind of a learning deal for me. So
yeah, and that's what we're all about. So I'm glad you were able to learn something tonight.
You bet. So again, just thank you for your time, and we'll be anytime you want to get on and have the forum and spread your information, we'll be more than happy to have you.
Great.
Next time though, we try and get you on about 7, so we're not fighting with bedtimes too.
Yeah, that would be a great time.
I have the child that never
For
sleeps.
us.
So I have the child that never sleeps, so I 100% understand the value of bedtime.
Yep. Yeah, no, bedtimes are huge in our house. That's one of my health freedom issues. My own personal issue is sleep. So I want my children to be able to have a great sleep routine and continue that into adulthood. So
yeah.
Yep.
Well, one of the legislators told me once upon a time when I was helping with bills and stuff, and it was a 21 session. He called me at like midnight. And he's like, "Are you still up?" I'm like, "Well, obviously we're talking." well,
right.
Life. And I'm like, "Well, it's midnight, dude. What's up?"
Right. Yep.
He's like, "Well, this is what I want to do."
Yep. Well, and honestly, if there's stuff that's getting done with our organization, more than likely it is because we're working in those overtime hours. The kids are in bed and we're up working to help push through whatever education that we need to push through, get that flyer made, get that call done, whatever it might be, send the email, that sort of thing. We are working overtime in that regard.
Yeah, well, I don't extend this offer very often, but if you guys need anything, Alexis, please reach out to me.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. It's always appreciated to have someone willing to help you out when you need that.
Yeah. Well, anything you would like to ask Shilo here?
No,
questions?
I'm good, guys. I'm like I said, I'm just taking it all in. This was kind of the first time that I've heard of this organization and what you guys do. So I
Yeah.
appreciate all your guys' work. So
Yeah.
I
Thank
know
you.
that
Yeah.
you can pick your battle, whatever battle you want to pick, and there's always enough work for everyone to go around, isn't there? It just
That
seems like
is
it
the
never
truth.
ends. So
That is the truth. I was just talking with Maya, actually, my kind of my mentor there and my friend now, about a different thing going on with the pipeline in South Dakota.
mhm.
And we kind of have that same situation going on here in North Dakota. And she was saying that they were at a meeting with all these farmers that are dealing with possibility of having the pipeline come through their land. And
Yep.
it was the same. She was kind of laughing to herself because she's been in this fight since 2011 with health freedom.
Yep.
And she was kind of laughing because it's the same kind of conversations that we've been having, me since really 2017, and her since 2011, is how we need more people willing to step up, and we need those legislators willing to fight, not just because that it might affect them personally, but because it's affecting the people that they are in those positions for in North
Mhm.
Dakota and in South Dakota. So she was saying that it's kind of comical, but it's happening everywhere and it's coming from all fronts.
Yeah, well, and we actually just put a post up today on our Facebook page regarding the pipeline because
Yep.
the Public Service Commission earlier this week said they overruled the county's ability to make the decision.
Yep.
It was yesterday, and it kind of pissed me off a little bit. So I went and found it.
Yep.
I found the bills. I posted to our website, but it was kind of interesting because it was introduced by Senator Shilo and Marvin, or Jessica Bell, and then Representatives Nathan and Porter. And I don't know if you've listened to Cape Fire recently, but the morning show has kind of had that drastic change on it. And that's because it's Jessica's husband that's doing the morning show. And you hear the
Hmm.
push.
I've been seeing some stuff on my own personal feed about some of that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
And it's kind of crazy that, 4 years ago already, 5 years ago, they changed the law so that they could supersede county level, when
Yep.
obviously the way our country's supposed to be structured is your township's supposed to be your strongest form of government.
Mhm.
Right.
But now
Right.
we have a state public service commission saying that they can override the law.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah. That's what Maya was talking about, is how the commissioners from the particular county that actually put in was it memoriam, I think she called it,
Mhm.
they actually sued by the company, and so it's getting very, very nasty and personal, unfortunately.
yeah, well, we keep seeing legislators coming out on both sides of the fence here. So it's going to be
Yep.
next session, I think, is going to be the fight for Summit.
Right. Yep. You're probably right on that. And that affects us too in regards to our health, because that is where our crops are being grown, and and everything else. If you do any grounding, then you're going to be possibly absorbing things into your body. Oh, I see. Sorry. Possibly absorbing things into your body that you don't necessarily want to, or even know that you are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, and I think you go back, it was what, September, October, I put something on our website too. I actually found video from testing over in Sweden of how quickly a rupture would spread, and it's pretty nuts.
Yeah, I think I do remember seeing that. Yep.
So,
It's frightening. It's really frightening.
well, and these are all things that affect our health, and people don't think about. You look at Sawyer; they're talking about using it as nuclear dumping again, even though it got
Oh, yep.
in the 90s. They want that granite formation. So it's
Yep.
just it's nuts.
Yep. And I think the biggest thing that I try to take away from when I read those things, and I see what is happening, I mean, because we all know, that something is going on. We can feel it in the air. And my biggest thing is, don't live in fear. when you go and you get into motion, the fear dissipates. When you start fighting for something you truly believe in, your voice might shake right away, but if you keep, putting it out there and you keep telling people what you're fighting for and what you believe in, your voice stops shaking. You got the Spirit of God inside of you, and your voice is the strongest it's ever been at that point.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
And it's terrifying when you do your first couple commission meetings or your first couple city council meetings. Like it is.
It definitely is.
And your voice can be steady as a rock, but I can promise you, your legs shaking like a leaf.
Yep. Yep. And it's funny, like people think that I'm a good speaker, and I'm like, oh no, you have no idea. Like my heart's going 1,000 miles a minute, and I am like trying to stay on my feet and, have a clear voice. I do not like public speaking at all, but that's the thing is when you're so sure in what you are doing and what you are telling people and educating people on, you have to do it. You can't be silent, because silence gives consent. And that's what I never want my children to ever see with my own self or their own selves. I'm trying to teach them that too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You bet.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm just excited, Shilo. I'm sorry.
I am too. I've been dancing a lot lately.
well, you keep dancing.
Will do.
And keep us informed. And again, thank you for your time, and we'll do this again.
That sounds good. I'm looking forward to it, guys. Thanks for having me on again.
You bet. Thank you. That was Alexis Wangler with Health Freedom of North Dakota. Oh, I'm sorry, my voice here is just giving out on me. So, Marvin, before we go, my final thought here, I'd like to play a video. It's of Steve Friskup. Obviously, he's been on the show before. I've had him on a few times. He's been on when you were on. And he does the Coffee with the Colonel deal every morning. And so I'm just going to play this video. I thought it was kind of, well, I listened to it today on the way to work, and it really kind of struck me. It's 6 minutes, but I want to play it for you guys, and then we'll talk about it here. But
why don't you put it full screen right away so everybody can see it?
What's that?
Put it full screen right away if you're going to share.
Yeah, I will.
Perfect.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Little Coffee with the Colonel, right here from the old horse trailer in Levelland, Texas. Got a big couple of days in front of us. I want to continue on in this Acts 17 because this is such an important place in the Bible. And as I mentioned yesterday, Paul is standing in the midst of the area of Pagans, and he is with these Greek philosophers, and they've taken him up to the mount of one of these gods and a god and that they worship, and then there's a placard that says the unknown God, and Paul tells them, he said here over here in Acts 17 verse 24, and he said, the God that you claim unknown, I know. And so he begins to explain to them about this God, and he said he's the one that won't be worshipped with men's hands. He won't be found in temples built by men's hands, and he doesn't need anything from man, but he gives life and breath to all things. Now, here's the deal. He gives life. And then in verse 26, and he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on the face of the earth. So much of our Christianity is about getting out of here, when Paul tells these guys it was all about living and about being here, and has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their dwellings. These nations had borders There's a whole teaching on that about sovereignty. If people understood the kingdom of God better, they'd understand sovereignty better. If they understood sovereignty better, they'd understand the need for secure borders. And so here's the reason he did this in the earth, so we would seek the Lord, that they should seek the Lord in order that they might grope for him and find him. And though he's not far from each one of us, for in him we live and move and have our being, as also some of our own poets have said, for we are also his offspring. Therefore, since we are the offspring of God, we ought not think that the divine nature is like gold or silver or stone, something shaped by art or man's devising. Here's the deal. God created all this so we live. Live right here. Find him right here, right now, doing what we do. Nation, living in a nation with a border that should be a sovereign nation. One nation under God. One nation under the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That was the divine design. Now we've deviated from that. One of the reasons I think we've deviated from that over time is that I think somewhere along the way, we began believing man's version of God, man's interpretation of the Bible, man's ideas of who God is, what love is. He's telling these guys, the God that you don't know, you can know. He's the creator of all things. He gives life, breath to all things. He's the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning and the end. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. So here you go. Know him. Don't just read a book about him. Know him. Read this book. This is the essence of him. But come to know. Be spiritually indwelt, spiritually enlightened. Here's what we need in America. As they fight for us to become woke, we need to become awakened. And through the power of the Holy Spirit, who is God, that's how we know him. To know him for ourselves, not man's devising, not man's version, not worshiping articles of stone, buildings built by stone. He does not dwell in buildings built by human hands, though he's not far from us. And so these are the things that are so important that Paul explained to these guys. He told them in the beginning, he said, I can tell that you're a very religious people, but that one you don't know, I know. Well, I'm here to tell you today, you can know him too. And you know him in your everyday life. And when you realize that he gives you life and he gives you breath, that you have a place. Today, I'm in Levelland, Texas, we're doing our horse sale. This is our spot. This is what my family and I do. We can't imagine doing anything else. We do it all to the glory of Jesus best we can. We trust him in all things and have hope in all things. And we try to stand on his word. We're as normal as everybody else. You do not have to go to 4 years of college to know Jesus. The Bible says, call on his name. Know him. He's alive. He's not far from us. We're his offspring. So anyhow, be encouraged by that today. Don't just take another guy's word for it. Go for yourself. And this great nation we live in is on purpose for purpose. And we need to reclaim her back. And we need to stand strong. We need to pray to God, not ask him to do something, ask him what we can do. That we again become a sovereign nation, one nation under God in the blessing of God. So anyhow, go forward with that today. I'll be back with you in the morning. Love you guys and love this great country we live in.
So there's a lot there, right?
Yep.
And I'm just going to say this. we've taken flack before about talking about God and this and that. I'm not going to preach to you on how you should believe. That's up to you. Um, but I'm not going to stop talking about God, and kind of something what Steve said there is, if people understood the kingdom of God better, they would understand why we need borders. And obviously our borders are under attack right now, right? Kind of goes back to giving our generational promise away, right? He also gave us a generational promise where we put our foot is home, right? Again, I'm just paraphrasing. And so we need to take care of that. And it really resonated with me. The other part about that is when you talk about as society pushes us to wokeism, we need to become awakened. And I think that's a lot of what we've talking about, pretty much since we've started this, Marvin, is trying to get people involved, waking people up. That's what this is gonna take. And, I don't know what belief you are. That's that's up to you. Alls I know is this is there's going to come a time, and I know people have heard me say this before, there's going to come a time that it's gonna be good versus evil, and you're gonna have to choose. Are you going to follow your man-made religions? Because let's face it, folks, we've been playing church for how
2,000
long?
years.
Yeah, and it's not gotten us anywhere, has it? Not one bit. So, I don't know. Do you have any comments on that, Marvin?
Well, you know where I stand with churches.
Yeah.
Like I go every Sunday, and I've been on a ride when it comes to churches, because when a pastor starts pushing an agenda, I like to sit down and have a conversation with them. Like,
Hmm.
if you're going to preach the word, preach the word. Don't try and manipulate the word so
Right.
that you can push a point. And we hear about it. I brought it up before on the show. There was a sermon out east later last year, where there was a pastor that was trying to explain sodomy was inhospitality, and that's not the way it works. It's not the way it works, folks. So, but to the bigger point of it, if we're not talking about it, complacency means compliance.
Yep.
I think Alexis brought that up tonight.
Yeah. How did she say that again?
Complacency is consent, I think, is what she
Yeah.
said.
I think that's how she said it. Yep.
So, and I know this was a huge learning experience for you tonight, Shiloh, but they were absolute beasts in 21 when it came to fighting for your rights, folks. Alexis, Jen, like the whole team
Mm-hmm.
were up there like almost every day of the session in 21 fighting for you. And whether you are vaccinated or not vaccinated, or I don't care where you stand. I don't care where you stand. You should have that choice. Your silence gives consent, Plato. That you should have that choice, and that's exactly what they were doing, was trying to give you your own choice.
I mean, let's face it, we have a lot of problems with our health program, if you want to call it that, or our medical, however you want to say it. I mean,
Well, you
just
look
in the
at
last
this.
couple months, you've known what we've been through. I mean, we've been fighting insurance companies. Why is it fair that an insurance company can tell a doctor what their patient needs? Why is that okay? Why do they get away with that? And then when you bring it up to a representative, it's like that's a deer in the headlights look, or you get a well prepared rebuttal that doesn't mean anything.
Well, and if you look at this last session, the bill that changed what the state health officer can do, they literally rewrote the duties of the state health officer this last session with one bill.
Yep.
and tried to eliminate any sort of legislative input into it too, with a couple other bills. So, like, these are the kind of things that Alexis would fight, because honestly, I feel, I'm not putting words into her mouth, but I feel she would feel about the same way I do about the state health officer getting to pick what tests are performed on your newborn, what genetic samples they keep from your child, where they're storing those records.
Yeah.
Kind of scary, folks. And that's not tinfoil hat scary. That's just outright scary. So,
Yeah.
because next step is, what do they get to do with your child if they find them not fit? So,
Right.
and it's the possible outcomes from just what they did this last session with the state health officer is scary, folks. It is. You get the wrong person in the right position. It's terrifying.
Well, we're experiencing that already. Our governor. I mean, it's not just him. Look at any of these offices. The
Well, and
attorney.
you look at Secretary of State Shilo.
Mhm.
When people ask me about voter registration and how secure it would be and yada yada yada, the point that I brought up as a counter is, it's only as secure, it's only as good as the person holding the keys.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt, but you were talking about the Attorney General there too.
Well, yeah. I mean, any of those offices. They haven't. What have they done besides Josh Gallion? What have they done for us since they've been in? Besides hide, and I can say that because they literally hide from me. Or maybe it was Dr. Frank that was with me. I don't know, but he's Michael Howell, the Secretary of State, still has yet to say anything,
Yeah.
respond, or anything. So I don't know. You're supposed to be what is that? A public official, and you just pick and choose who you answer to. I mean, and I get it. They probably don't want confrontation or anything like that, and I don't want confrontation either. But I do believe that even
Let's
though
have a
that we
conversation.
yeah, right, and that we might disagree, we can have a civil conversation. I know that's kind of hard to believe in nowadays terms, but um, I would like to think that I would be able to have a civil conversation with any of them if they'd come on, but I don't
Well,
know.
we'll see, because Sarah reached out to Kelly too.
Cool.
So,
That would be a good
and
show as well.
Kirsten. Yep. No, we talked about Kirsten earlier. And that's the thing, is like, she's like, well, what about these people? And I'm like, invite them, send it out. We've said once and we'll say it again, and it's going to be my closing thought for the night. We'll have a conversation with anybody, whether we agree with you or not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be like some other interviews you have where the host gets combative because we don't agree with you.
Right.
We're not going to say you can't say something on the show, because we are listed as free speech, folks.
Mm-hmm. No matter what people with fake accounts want to say. By the way, we know you're watching. So
Oh, I don't mind.
thank you. I don't either,
Right?
but
I'll take the views.
yeah, that's fine. But getting back to that, yeah, I mean, there's been people on here. I mean, Trent Luce, when he came on, we were talking about, his dislikes of, or I shouldn't say dislikes of President Trump, but why he doesn't believe in him. That show right there. It could have went many different ways, but we're not here to fight. I mean, we can ask the questions and, we can agree to disagree. What we're doing is getting the information out there. People have the right to their opinion, just like Marv, you have your right to your opinion and I have my right to mine, right?
Yep.
I mean, you and I don't always get along either, do we? On things. I mean, so some of our conversations are pretty fun. And that's all right though. I mean, that's what makes the world go around. So
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, you know who's right in our conversation, Shilo?
me.
Our wives.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. Tuesday for those of
Tuesday.
us that missed it at the beginning of the show. We're gonna have the president of the Homeschoolers Association on talking about the state convention that'll be next weekend. And then Friday again, like I said, and we have been talking about, our District 14 candidates are going to be on. So we got a couple really kind of unique shows coming up here. So if you want to know more about the Homeschoolers Association and about the convention in Bismarck here this next week, don't miss Tuesday.
Right. Right. I don't have the list of conventions here in the next couple days. The only one that I remember is District 14. They're on the
The 18th.
18th, right?
Yes.
And then
because they're
District
on with
2
us
will
on-
be the 24th, and 1 and 23 will be on the 25th. One right after another. They're in Williston, so and that'll
And
be
again,
February
so
25th.
show up to your district meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that I've seen so far, they have vacant seats for state convention, which makes me nervous. So,
You bet.
oh,
Yep. And if you go to state convention, you'll see Marvin there.
you may see Shilo there.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes on the 24th. So, no, it's interesting times, that's for sure. So,
Yep.
with that being said, folks, we will see you Tuesday evening at 8 p.m. Central. Thanks for watching. Here's the deal. We'll see you Tuesday.